In 1996, partly in response to the Boy Scouts of America's policy requiring that boys profess to believe in God, Camp Quest was founded as an alternative for children from families who hold no supernatural beliefs. It was clear to the founders of Camp Quest that children from these families needed a place that they too belonged and a summer camp experience that they could enjoy. The Camp Quest concept has grown quite a bit since its first session in Boone County, Kentucky, and today Camp Quest serves teenagers as well as children. Today there are Camp Quest locations not only all around the United States, but around the world, overseas, including Camp Quest UK and new branches opening up in Ireland and Norway. Cindy Cooper caught me off guard when I first met her. I was, for some reason, expecting someone around 50 or 60. I saw her and I thought, oh, she must be the granddaughter. But not the case. Cindy is a senior at Northeastern State University, majoring in biology and elementary education, and she serves as vice president of Camp Quest Oklahoma. Here to talk about Camp Quest, please give a warm Reason to Rock welcome to Cindy Cooper.
Just like you said, my name is Cindy. I am from Camp Quest, Oklahoma. I am completely honored to be here today. Thank you, guys. How do I get this thingy to click? Laptop? Okay. Oh, there we go. Just like you said, Camp Quest was founded as a reason. It was a location and a place for kids to go. It was started in Kentucky and Cincinnati by a small group of people wanting a camp for their kids because the options weren't there. They were wanting a camp that didn't indoctrinate. And if you've looked on the internet and if you've seen documentaries like Jesus Camp, that's all that's out there right now. It's either Christian camps or Boy Scouts. There's a little bit of a Girl Scouts, which are a pretty good camp. But they wanted a camp for themselves. And so it started off as a small group, and it's grown so quickly. We are strictly a volunteer-run camp. We need you guys to run Camp Quest. It's all of us. It's our camp. It's our kids. Currently, we only have one paid member, which is Amanda Meskis, and she was hired on just recently. We have about 14 camps right now, and the numbers are still growing with, I think, about 1 or 2 pending just this year. And we have the 3 international. The number of campers has also tremendously skyrocketed. Starting off in just 96 with only 20. This year alone, when I was working at Camp Quest, Texas, we had 80 kids. And we were turning many down. We could easily have had 100 kids in Texas, but unfortunately, we just didn't have the staff to run it. So sign up to be a counselor. It's fun. Camp Quest, our mission is simple. We want to provide an educational adventure shaped by fun, friends, free thought, featuring science, natural wonder, and humanistic values. We want to have fun, learn about nature, learn about science without the indoctrination. Our values are simple. We want to teach our kids integrity, empathy, creativity, critical thinking, and community. We want to teach our kids how to think, not what to think. And our goals in order to do this are equally as simple. It's to develop and supportive communities of free-thinking families. One of the biggest things that I've noticed at the camps is that this is an opportunity for our kids, to be themselves, to be open with who they are, and not to have to censor themselves to the environment around them. This is the only time that kids can actually really be themselves and meet other kids like them. And these friends that they have, it lasts them a lifetime. We want to foster curiosity, scientific inquiry, critical thinking in young people and enable them to draw their own conclusion. We don't want to teach them what to think, of course. We want to teach them how. We want them to explore new options and new ideas. We want to cultivate reason and empathy as the foundation of ethical, productive, and fulfilling lives. And of course, we want to provide a fun and safe environment for personal and social growth. Like I said, this is the few places that our kids really get to be kids and to be around like-minded individuals. And to, of course, encourage an exploration of the natural world. We want to give them answers to why the leaves are green, why is the sky blue, rather than just because or because God did it. And to raise awareness of positive contributions made by atheists, agnostics, humanists, freethinkers, and non-theistic people in our society. As hard as it is to believe, we are not evil people. We actually do a lot of good. And to demonstrate that humanism and atheism as a positive, family-friendly worldview. We have kids too. Our values are principles that guideline how we run. It's grassroots. We're the ones who are doing it. I really don't get paid to do this. It's the other way around. I've donated a large amount of my time, my finances, what little finances I have being a college student, and of course, my ideas in order to get this to work. And of course, it's not just myself alone, it's all of you. Anybody can come volunteer and help run Camp Quest or Camp Quest Oklahoma. There's nothing that you can't do. We need people who are motivated and energetic about teaching our kids, because they are our future. Practicality, taking action, creative solutions, and providing hands-on support, of course, and courage. That is one of our biggest things. A lot of our children, they're going to be the future leaders of the world. We need them to be brave enough to speak out, to challenge ourselves and others. And of course, integrity and cooperation and empiricalism. I really enjoy teaching the children the scientific method is something that we all should be required to know. And recently, it was just added on to our science curriculum, unless you're in Texas, unfortunately, I'm sorry. It's not there. And of course, we want our kids to have fun. Right now, our Camp Quest Oklahoma, we're still a skeleton group. We've just started in November, so we're a really new group. Well, not this November, of course, it was last November. And right now, we're currently running with about 4 board members who never sleep. And thanks to you guys, we had an amazing year. We actually got Camp Quest up and running in about 7 months, which is unheard of for any of the Camp Quests. Normally it takes 1 to 2 years to have a full week camp. Normally they start off with a day camp and do a lot of fundraising, but thanks to Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, all of you guys on Facebook and Meetup and all of these groups, we were able to have a camp in less than 6 months. We were able to raise $6,000. I still don't know how in the world we did it. And we were able to send 12 kids who otherwise would not have been able to come to our camp. You guys were donating the full amount for one kid just to come to camp. We had people that were donating $1,000 just so that kids could come to camps. Different groups actually had scholarships available for them. We had 14 children that applied, and we were able to help 12. So give yourselves a round of applause. We really did awesome for that. And for our first year, we had a pretty high number. We had 32. And our goal for next year is to have 50. And our goal is also to not turn down anyone with financial aid needs. Our camp, we've actually decided to have our camp at the same location that we did last year, which will be Camp Wallahili in Chota, Oklahoma. We loved this camp. Campfire, they're awesome. They're pretty secular, and they wanted us to be there, which was a very hard thing for us to do. We went to a lot of camps, and as soon as they found out what we were, they would flat out, very bluntly say that they don't want us there. And, we probably could have filed lawsuits, but who would really want to be at a camp that you're not wanted? And their staff, of course, was very, very supportive of our children and our way of doing things. They wanted us to come back next year, and so we will. Tentatively, we're planning on being scheduled on the 9th through the 15th, but we haven't signed anything quite yet. And I'm sure you're wondering, what in the world do Camp Quest kids do? Well, we do a lot of the traditional activities, just like every other summer camp. We had rappelling, which was for the older kids for 12 and up. It was, of course, an optional thing, but almost every kid did it. It was actually a lot of fun. I wanted to do it. BB guns. All of our kids did that, except a few who didn't want to. Nobody lost any eyes. Wallahili is really great about safety. I was very amazed by kayaking. Nobody tipped their, well, I don't think nobody tipped their boat. Or, hey, West, one kid did end up in the lake, didn't he? But he was kind of a brat anyway, so we don't mind. And of course, there's hiking. You can tell they looked really enthused, the Oklahoma heat. Archery, which after the Hunger Games, all of the kids really loved the idea of learning how to do that. Swimming, notice how it's a pool. As much as we all love Oklahoma and their lakes, all of our kids much rather swim in a pool. No blue-green algae there. And of course, there's our non-traditional activities. We would have our traditional activities in the morning because they're all outside, outdoor activities. And then in the evening after lunch, we would have our own curriculum that we would come up with. So if you guys have any ideas, if you're a scientist that wants to come do a presentation, or you guys are really passionate about an activity, call me. This is one of, thanks to my lovely hubby back there, this is his green anaconda. We had a herpetology presentation. So we brought Hercules, our green anaconda, and if you register your kids for Skepticon, he'll be there. And of course, our boa constrictor. She's a little bit heavier, but he's actually a little bit longer, and she's a little bit easier to deal with. She just kind of sits there. She's a really good girl, though. And of course, we made homemade root beer. All the kids really got a kick out of learning how yeast helps ferment, and afterwards, after a week long of summer camp and there's no soda, something fizzy with ice cream was just awesome. And of course, we did scientific activities like chromatography. What chromatography is it's an extraction of the leaf pigments. We would go and gather different leaves outside, and we would talk about how the leaves change colors. And why is this happening? And, are those pigments, during the fall, like out here in Arkansas, they would change colors to yellows and reds and oranges. Is that color just spontaneously appearing, or is it always there? And so we would gather leaves, we'd do a little rub test on chromatography paper, and then we'd place it in alcohol, and that would separate all the pigments. And so they would be able to see that, there's green pigments, there's olive pigments, and then there's the orange, yellows, or reds. And of course, we extracted our own DNA. This was a really fun one. They had to swish around salt water, which I'm sure they're going to love me for posting this. They had to swish salt water and gather their own cheek cells. And then we would break it down, using just a simple soap and some other miscellaneous tricks. And so they would actually get to see the long beaded strands of their DNA. And when we looked at it under a microscope, they could see the large chromids, I'm using technical science terms here, of their DNA. And if we were able to magically break apart these chromids, they'd actually see that double helix, but we don't have that kind of technology. But they still thought it was neat that they could see their little clumps of DNA within their cheek cells. And of course, our most popular activity was making silly putty with borax and Elmer's glue. Many of our kids made 3 or 4, and their hands would end up being dyed different colors. And of course, we would talk about the chemical reactions that were involved and how this is a simple polymer and why was this actually created. It was kind of an accident trying to make synthetic rubbers. And of course, we do have art activities as well. This was one of our Kickstarter activities, and it was actually by our Minister of Propaganda, Kevin. What he wanted to do was to have an art activity that was just messy. And he really liked the Pollock style. And we were actually able to raise over $1,000 in order to have this activity. So all the kids afterwards, they got to make their own little canvas. But they also did a community canvas, which it's really huge, and we haven't figured out what we're going to do with it. We're probably going to try and auction it off as a fundraiser on eBay. So keep an eye out on us. You can buy your own Camp Quest painting. But as you can see, it's a giant. This is actually the smaller for one of our donors, but we have a really giant canvas that they did. And the kids loved it. They made a huge mess. And of course, we had a little bit of engineering. We have a mechanical engineer. And we had this called the Catapult Challenge. What we did is our mechanical engineer back there built a really large, it's 6 across, 9 feet high catapult. It's a trebuchet. Yeah, we're medievaling it here. And we set a challenge for our kids to figure out a way in which to construct a simple machine that would project a cork further than the rest of your other campers. Whoever got to do it first would be the first person to launch the trebuchet, the giant one. And so all of our kids really wanted to be the first person to launch that trebuchet, and they made quite a few, and they did really well. Some of them actually made simple trebuchets, a lot of them made catapults, a few made slingshots, which did surprisingly well. And of course, here's our very, very large trebuchet.
Where's the cow?
Unfortunately, it's not that big. We had to keep it on, have it fit the back of a truck. So originally, we were planning on chunking potatoes, and so we had people donating pounds of potatoes. We ended up getting I'm thinking about 100 pounds of potatoes donated to us. And the trebuchet just wasn't working right with potatoes, so we ended up eating them. Yeah, Camp Wallahili was really amazed by our children's diet. Apparently, we ate more salad than they had. We set records for salad and cheese. They didn't believe us when we told them our children don't really eat meat. They eat healthy. They eat a lot of salad. So yeah, they said that we went through 35 pounds of cheese and their entire freezer full of salad. They actually had to go and buy more salad. But instead we added a soccer ball to it, and the kids really loved that because they could try and catch the soccer ball. We only beaned 5 kids, and nobody broke their nose, so it's... And of course, Camp Quest tradition is the Socrates Cafe. This is a really popular activity that's normally full. What it is simply an opportunity for children to ask questions and to think. The rules are simple. You make a statement and then you end it with a question. And so the starting topic could be something like, what is natural? And every child has amazed me by the things that they think of. and how I remember one little girl was completely adamant that, we need to stop taking ourselves out of nature because we're an animal, so everything we do, wouldn't that be considered natural? Yeah, this was what she was saying. They were amazing. For more information about Camp Quest or to enroll your kids, pretty soon we're going to be doing enrollment for next year's camp, or we're having a day camp at Skepticon. Enroll your kids now. We don't have any kids enrolled yet, and we've got JT, he's going to be doing a magic show. We've got the Friendly Atheist, who's going to teach kids math. We're going to be bringing, you'd think that it'd be a bad thing, but he's really good. I've stolen a lot of his little activities, and I tutor math as well for elementary. And yeah, my students, they love me. I steal a lot of his stuff. You can check us out on Camp Quest Oklahoma. That's where you can enroll for our day camp. Sometimes I put my news on there. And of course, you can check us out on Facebook.com, and you can always email me. And of course, we're actually having another fundraiser. We're always doing fundraisers, and if you have any ideas for fundraisers, feel free to email me as well. On December 1st, we're actually having Sam Singleton come to Tulsa, Oklahoma at the Nightingale Theater, and he's going to be doing a revival for a benefit to help raise money for Camp Quest. And so I've got tickets with me right now, so if you guys want to buy them later, just let me know. This is the same act that he did at Skepticon last year that caused the yogurt gate. Yeah, so that's a good one to see. And of course, my friend Kenny will be opening. He's hilarious. He used to be a comic, and now he's getting back into the swing of things. So that'll be December 1st. And of course, we'll be at Skepticon. So how many of y'all are going to Skepticon? Yeah! So enroll your kids. They can see a snake. No, we've had our snake both of our snakes for about 6 years, and the most I've seen them do is fart. They don't talk, they'll wheeze a little, but that's about it. No speaking. They'll fart, they'll burp, and that's about it, and eat. That's about the only noises I ever hear out of them. Well, once again, thank you guys. Thank you, Reason of the Rock, for having me. And once again, thank you, Arkansas, for supporting us. We got a large amount of volunteers here, and I really look forward to meeting all of you guys again. Thank you so much.